Hi, I'm Sarah, and welcome to CoreMoodz. Today, I'll be talking to you about the books that were the worst books I read in 2025, and the books that were the best books I read in 2025. I'm going to start with the worst books. The first book I want to mention is Private Rights by Julia Armfield, and I think this book is in my worst books list because it was very much there were no direction. There were a lot of interesting concepts. The writing was okay. But I just felt like the author didn't know what they were doing, didn't know where they wanted to start and end. And what happened in the last part of the book, was really weird because there was no way of seeing this coming. And I just felt like it just came out of nowhere. It's not well thought of. And were a lot of things that were introduced just for shock. The next book I want to mention is You're Fatally Invited by Andy Pliego. And this book I'm just done with And Then There Were None rewritings, retellings, inspirations. This book did nothing. There was like a group of people somewhere. It's about a woman that works with this mysterious person, ruined her life into this place, and then those people start dying, and she's like, "Oh, I don't know what's going on. This wasn't the plan. I wanted this and this to happen." It's like very similar to this year's Riley Sager book, On That Train. It's like very similar story, and I didn't like this book. It was not interesting. It was very boring. So the third book is a non-fiction book, The Secret History of the R. Kit by Pagan Kennedy. And this book, I was very much disappointed because they were like, "Oh, this is the history of this object that's used to collect DNA," and then they went into praising certain organizations that have very turfy and very much white-centered way of tackling the things that they're trying to tackle. I just didn't like the praise of these organizations. I understand that these organizations helped back in the day, but I think if the author would have clearly mentioned, okay, in this time they did something great, does not mean that they are good today, does not mean that they are aligned with them today, but they did something good to help this kit of being introduced into police precincts and being a part of the procedure. The next book I want to mention is By Sea and Sky by Antoine Bandele. And this book needed so much editing. I understand that this is an indie book, and I feel like an indie published book, and I just feel like I don't want to be harsh because I don't think he, as an author, with his talent, has as much access to resources, to editors, to support in a way that a traditionally published author would have. But I just wish that he had a little bit more help with the editing, and also the main character is like completely tunnel visioned. There was no way for this to be like an ensemble situation with people coming together and coming to a common goal. When she was like going into situations wholly focused on surviving and making sure the one person she loved survived and the other people don't matter, it got very tiring after a while. The last book I'm going to mention is Heart of Darkness by Joseph Conrad. And this book, I will 100% judge any person who says this book is one of their favorites or they liked it. I feel like everyone can read what they want, but I will in my heart judge, because this book was like problematic, racist. It was like completely disgusting. And also you can completely feel like this is what the author thought. It wasn't like, oh, the separation between art and artist. No, this is like definitely what the artist wanted. Like this is what they thought. This is what the way they saw the world. I can't even say, oh, this is how the world was at the time. No. This is what the author really thought. So this book is like very disappointing, very disgusting. I just don't understand how people can talk about this book and say, oh, it's a classic, it's well written, it's amazing. And then trick me to go into this book with having like expectations and then see what it turned out into. I was like very disappointed. I'm not interested in reading these kind of books anymore. So those were the 5 worst books I read in 2025. And now on to the best books I read in 2025. Those are books I loved. Those are books that were amazing. Those are books that I would definitely reread. And the first book is, well, this one I might not reread. Our Share of Night by Marina Enriquez. And this book was so brutal, was so painful, was so sadistic in certain parts. There was so much human suffering and so much pain and so much suffering. And sacrifice. And I just really loved every page of it. It was so beautifully written, so intricate, so well thought of. It's like really a book that I can't recommend because of the trigger warning list. That's like, the trigger warnings list could be a book. So, but I really loved it. The next book is Parable of the Talents by Octavia E. Butler. I read Parable of the Sower a couple of years ago, and it was such a great and beautiful story, but I just it was so heavy, and so the chaos and the pain, and I just didn't, well, it was very intimidating to like read the second book. So I just waited for a while. And I thought this year, let me just read it, let me just tackle it. And I really loved it. It was very current, very interesting. The themes were very fascinating and very interesting themes that are very current, and humanity doesn't change. And yeah, Octavia Butler, great author. And well, this book was well written. And I just hope that we evolve as humans to not repeat the same mistakes we've been repeating since the start of life. So definitely a duology that I would recommend. The third book is The Spear Cuts Through Water by Simon Jimenez. And I've read from Simon Jimenez before, The Vanishing Birds, and I didn't like it. So I just didn't feel like picking up a book by Simon Jimenez. And I still just tried it because a lot of people were talking about how this book is amazing, it's completely different. So I just tried it, and it was such a beautiful fantasy book. It was well written, very creative, and it's like a world within a world within a world. And you can just reread this book into infinity. It's so beautiful, and it's so well, the characters are so true to themselves, and so focused, and so in touch with who they are. And it's like very well written book, and I'll definitely keep an eye on Simon Jimenez to see what they write next. The next book is Strange Houses by Yuketsu. I really like this book. I've read Strange Pictures by Yuketsu, and I really liked Strange Pictures. Were like different stories that connect because of drawings that people make in a different part of the story that connect, that give us like a big picture at a situation. And I just read Big Pictures, and I just thought, oh, Yuketsu has a different book. Let me just read it. And I tackled both books in my horror books vlog. You can watch it if you're interested. I just started Strange Houses, and I was mesmerized. I just like, this is a story that I love. The weight of generational pain, tradition, culture, folklore, fear. I just really like this story, and I completely understand when people say that it's not a unique story that has been told before, but I read it at the right time, and I really enjoyed it. It was the perfect twist for my taste. So I really liked Strange Houses by Yuketsu. And I also liked the investigative start of the book. And my last best book of 2025 is When the Wolf Comes Home by Nat Cassidy. This book was completely nowhere near what I expected. The way this book has been pitched, the synopsis, and when you start this book, your perception of the situation and how the situation evolves, and the twists and the turns, and how the story goes on. And it's like, you start this book, and it's like you're running with the characters. There's no stopping, there's no pausing, there's no taking a breath. Things keep happening and situation keeps changing, and I just love it. I love Nat Cassidy's writing. I love this book, and I will definitely read more by Nat Cassidy. Well, I've read most of his books. Very interesting book, really loved it, would definitely recommend. What are the worst books you've read in 2025? What are the best books you've read in 2025? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching, and bye.